What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to House of Gerald. It's been a while since I've made a video. Well, I broke down and bought a new car, so I figured, what the heck, I'll go ahead and do a video about it. Because why not? So without further ado, let me introduce you to my 2020 Subaru Forester Sport. So you might be asking yourself, why did I buy a Subaru Forester? What led me to this? So I recently was able to pay off a whole bunch of debt, credit cards, student loans, the whole 9 yards, and I was thinking, now that I've freed up a whole bunch of money, my monthly income, that why not buy another vehicle? So I kind of wanted to get another fast car. I've already got the Ford Raptor, which will be a future video, but I was thinking, I used to have a 2015 Dodge Challenger RT Scat Pack, which is essentially the Challenger RT with the SRT motor put in it. So it doesn't have all the cool SRT programmable suspension and all that, but it had the big motor. So it went fast as hell. Just didn't handle all that great. Fun car. I miss that car. I traded it in for the Raptor. I really miss that. I already said I'd get another, so I started thinking, why don't I look at one now? Well, I started shopping around for what I wanted. Nothing was really available, at least locally. I knew that if I was gonna get what I really wanted, it would probably have to be ordered, which would mean at least 6 to 8 weeks lead time. But now with this whole pandemic thing, who knows how long that would take. It's September, the 1st of September, right around there. That means that by the time I get it, it's probably gonna be winter already, and the car's gonna go directly into storage, and that's where it's gonna sit for 4 to 6 months, depending on how winter goes. So that really kind of changed my outlook, if you will, on what I wanted. So I started looking at a couple factors. One, I kind of wanted something fun, something that is to some degree customizable, something that I can drive year round, which would allude to 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And maybe if I'm gonna go that route, I've already got the Raptor. It's already a hot rod. It's already got power. It already gets kind of crappy mileage. Why not get something with better fuel economy? So I started looking at Subarus. Initially, I wanted to look at the Crosstrek. Let me kind of back up a little bit here. So over the last, 5 or 6 years or so, I've been kind of looking at Subarus, but not really taking it seriously. Back about, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, the only real options were the WRX, the STI, and the Outback. The Crosstrek was still fairly new. Nobody wanted a Forester, and the Ascent hadn't even come out yet, I don't believe. And so I was looking at an Outback, but I just couldn't break down and buy an Outback because I didn't feel it had enough cool factor. There, I'll say that. It just didn't feel cool enough. So I started looking at the STI. When I started building the STI to the specs that I wanted, it was in the same ballpark as the Challenger, so I ended up buying a Challenger. There's pros and cons to how I did that. At least with the Subaru, I would have had something year-round, theoretically. Anyways, fast forward to buying the Raptor. I was looking at maybe Outbacks or some kind of Subaru. And by this time, this is about 2 years ago, the Crosstreks were kind of popular because you can do lift kits and you can put wheels and tires and you can put all kinds of cool stuff on it. So I started thinking, well, that might be kind of cool, but I still wanted power. I wanted a bigger toy. I wanted more oomph. And I didn't think that a Subaru would really meet that. So I bought the Raptor. Fast forward to now, here I am, fortunate enough to be able to buy another vehicle. And so now I'm back at Subaru. So over the time since all this, I've seen some really cool Outbacks in person, some really cool Crosstreks in person that are lifted and they got all kinds of bolt-on stuff and wheels and tires and roof racks, and they really look badass. So I come to realize that the Subarus are becoming the Jeep of the car world, in that the aftermarket is really exploding with them. And so there's a lot of options now to customize them and mod them. So I initially went to Teton Subaru up in Jackson, Wyoming, looking primarily at the Crosstrek. Now, prior to going up there, I was kind of surfing the internet on their website, and I did see this really cool blacked out Forester Sport that just looked cool. I knew it was a totally different car. I've never really thought about Foresters. I always pictured them kind of as a farm utility kind of vehicle, until recently they kind of got a little bit more luxurious, so they kind of crossed over into just a respectable family car. So I never really thought about Forester. So long story short, I go up to Jackson, I park my truck, and just by sheer luck, the closest car on their lot to where I parked was the Subaru Forester, the Sport, the very one I was looking at on the internet. And so I instantly went and looked at it. I sat down on it. The salesman saw me. He came out, started talking to me. Very nice guy. His name's Darren. He's a very, very nice guy. At no point did he ever act like I was trying to buy a car or he was trying to sell one. It was just kind of small talk, hang out, have a cool thing, here's some cool features, here, get in it, sit down, touch this, play with this, you know. It was really cool. So needless to say, I sat down in this Forester and I pretty much instantly fell in love with it. The interior, the exterior, the features, the headroom, the leg room, front and back were perfect for me. I'm a large framed gentleman, I'm 6'1". Plus I wear hats all the time, which adds, you know, another inch maybe. And so I needed headroom. I needed comfort. I started thinking, well, the Crosstrek is smaller than the Forester. It's physically smaller. So do I really want to go Crosstrek? So we went over and looked at a Crosstrek, and sure enough, it was just too small. I didn't have very much leg room. It was a little more compact in the driver's seat. And then once I got the driver's seat set to where I thought was where I would be, I went and sat in the back, and sure enough, there's almost no leg room, no head room. It was just too small. So I was back to the Forester. And long story short, I said, I like it. I knew there was a 0% financing going on right now, and it was for 63 months, and I could throw my taxes into it. So I said, you know what, let's go do this, let's finance it. I want this car. He threw me the keys, I went for a test drive while they were doing financing. Yes, it's true. I did the test drive after I already said I wanted it. I hadn't done it prior, but oh well. I knew I liked it, and I knew Subarus were good, so then I took it for a test drive. I was lost because the controls in these Subarus are totally different than any American car, so I was lost trying to figure out how to turn the wipers on because they were on, or trying to turn them off, trying to figure out how the headlights work. It's like that with any new car, but it's also weird when you go from an American car to a foreign car because the thought process is totally different. At any rate, so I got the car. I got financing, sat there for a while, got it. I had driven up there. I didn't have a way to get the car back, so I was fortunate enough that the salesman was willing to, after he got off work, drive the car down to my house, which was about 60 miles, drop it off for me, had his wife follow him. She came, picked him up, and they went out to dinner. I got the car, and he did all that, and that was huge. So thank you for that if you're watching this video. So without further ado, what I plan on doing with this video is giving you some of my initial impressions on my likes and dislikes and what I've already done to kind of customize it a little bit. I'm not going to give you a full in-depth review for two reasons. One, I'm still learning it. And two, there's already a lot of good review videos out there of showing you all the features. What I think I'm gonna do in the future, maybe a couple months down the road, maybe next year, maybe I'll wait for a year of ownership and tell you an honest opinion about how I feel about this vehicle. Or maybe I'll do a few as I go on, you know, in time. I don't know yet. But I do wanna do a full-on review of the vehicle, but I kinda wanna get more familiar with it before I do so. So without further ado, let me show you the outside. So as you can see, it's black on black, tinted windows, partially tinted windows. The back two are tinted, the front's not. It does have the orange trim along with up here. It has the orange trim. And there's a couple little accents here and there of orange. I think, yeah, there's some here on the front bumper too. It's just nice and tastefully done, not overkill, but it's a nice look. And that's what really sold me on this vehicle. Come around to the back. It's a really clean look. I'm surprised with everything blacked out. The vehicle ID tags were all chrome. Anyways, more orange. And then I've always been kind of on the fence about these because I've been around vehicles that have the power liftgate. Not a big fan. I like to do it manually. But once you get used to it, it's actually a lot better. Let me show you. So here we are. Just come up here, reach underneath, push a little button, and there it goes. It opens right up. So one cool thing about this one was it's optioned with the extra rubber matting both on the seat backs and the actual mat here, which is really nice. And then under here, you have storage, and I also have the privacy screen, which is what's right there, the silver bar you can see. And then underneath there is actually the spare tire. It's really deep. And this also came with a couple other features, but that was the high point at the back. It's really durable. This is a really good heavy-duty mat. It's very, very nicely built. And I've already used it. I've already put wheels and tires in there, which I'll show you in a minute what I mean. And then all you do is come up here, push this, and there it goes. It closes for you. just like that. Works like a top. Coming around to this side, as you can see, it's a full 4-door. As you can see right here, it has a sunroof, which is really nice. It's got these little indicator lights in the mirrors, which is kind of interesting. Tells you little things, proximity, unlock, lock, a couple other features. It's got really nice headlights that are actually really bright. It's got built-in fog lights, which are kind of funky, because if you look at them, they actually shoot out to the side and reflect out. The lights are actually back in there. It's really kind of funky. It does have the eyesight, as you can see up here, the 2 eyes for it. It's kind of cool. I'm still learning it, trying to get it figured out. I believe it's standard in all Subarus now. Used to be option in the higher end models. I do like that the grille is all blacked out. And like I said, that little bit of orange trim down there. One thing I don't like is the dealer was nice enough to drill holes in the bumper for the temporary plate. I don't know why they did that, because Wyoming does not require a front plate. I wish they wouldn't have done that, but oh well, it's a little too late for that. As I was saying, I've already done a couple mods to this vehicle. So I'll put up a picture right now showing you the factory tires and wheels that came on it. They were cool, they were blacked out wheels. The tires were just regular street tires. They were Falcons, but they were just nothing burger street tires, and I knew winter was coming, so I didn't feel good using them year round. So one of the first things I did, I went on Tire Rack, I shopped around for wheels and tires. I found that you can get the Falcon Wild Peak AT, all-terrain trails in the factory size, 225 55 R18s, and you can get 18-inch wheels, mounted, balanced, TPMS sensors sent, the whole 9 yards, shipped to my house for cheaper than I can just buy those tires locally. So that's what I did. I went ahead and I bought the LP Adventure wheels and then obviously the Wild Peak AT Trail tires. I did no lift as of yet, and they fit just fine. I mean, it's really, really close, especially if you get up in here. It's really close and rubbing, but with me in it, and I loaded the back of this vehicle up, they didn't rub at all. No rubbing issues whatsoever. I also added the Rock Blocks mud flaps. As you can see, this car already comes with the little mud flaps. They're really small. They're just more for looks. That's what these are right here. These are the actual mud flaps that come from Subaru. And I went ahead and added the extra mud flaps just for a little extra added protection. But that's about all I've done on the outside so far. I did order a lift kit. It's not here yet. I don't know that I need it, so I might wait until next spring to install it. This seems to be doing just fine. I just figured, a little bit of a lift will give just a little bit more of ground clearance, but to be honest with you, I don't know that I need it. So that's about the gist of the exterior. Like I said, here's the roof rails. They got nice little tie downs right here, so you can actually put like a bungee cord or something in here. You can get roof racks, you can get all kinds of accessories for it. I might eventually. Right now it's fine without, but it does look cool with the orange accents. So without further ado, let me show you the inside. So here we are on the interior. As you can see, it's pretty cool. I like that it's got the orange stitching. It's got the orange accents around the vents. Here in the center console, it's got nice orange trim. It's got more orange stitching down here. It's got multiple textures, so it's got like this kind of leather-like right here, and then it's got this really cool cloth weave. It's actually a really nice grayish tone. It's got a similar thing in the doors. You can see that it's multiple different textures. Let me open this up so you can see it. It's almost like a 3D carbon fibery type texture. It's just rubber is all it is, I believe, but it's kind of nice. And then this is a different texture. Then you got the kind of satin silver, and then the chrome, and then like I said, the nice cloth trim, and then more stitching down here. It does say Sport in the door, which is kind of cool. It says it on both of them, as you can see here. But overall, it's a pretty cool interior. As you can see here in the overhead console, you got a couple buttons. You got the sunroof controls, and then you have the lane keep and collision detection buttons, and then your SOS, and then another dome light switch. The steering wheel is not too bad. It took me a little while to get used to the controls because the media is on this side and the cruise controls on this side. In the American vehicles I've been in, it's the exact opposite, so that took me a little while to get used to. The stereo system's nice. In fact, I'll turn it on. I mean, the multimedia is really nice. You can hit home here, and it's pretty responsive. It's not super responsive, but it's okay. You got a home button here, you got a home button there. It's got all kinds of features and programmability. I haven't really explored it too much. It's got your manual AC controls here, more radio controls here. One cool feature that I did like about this is it has the X mode, and it has regular snow and winter driving, and then it has deep snow and winter driving, or mud. And I can't wait to test that out this winter and see how it works. It's got the heated seats, which is nice. It's got the electronic parking brake, which is kind of funky. A couple things that I'm not a really big fan of are the ergonomics of this car, it looks really cool, but the usability is kind of poor. So what I found is that for interior storage space, other than the giant trunk in the back, there's really nowhere to put anything. There's two little bitty cup holders in the front. There's a little cubby right up here in the center console. There's a couple little door pockets and the glove box, and that's about it. There's literally nowhere to put anything. There's nowhere to put a cell phone, which is, to me, stupid. I don't understand why this day and age a manufacturer would build a vehicle where there's nowhere to put a cell phone. Everyone carries a cell phone. I know they want to go hands-free and all this stuff, but the reality is you still have your damn cell phone on you. Make a place to put it. Even if it's a slot, even if it's a little cubby, make a place to put the frickin' cell phone. Okay, I'm done with that. As you can see down here, it's hard to see. Sorry for the lighting, it's not the best. As you can see down in here, there's this little cubby down in here, and you have a 12-volt outlet, and you have two USB ports, and then way over here in the corner, which is really hard to see, is a little audio input, which is pretty cool. You don't see that very often anymore. Dodge really did that, and then nobody else is really doing that, but now you have an external audio jack. So the idea is if you wanted to hook up an external audio source like a MP3 player, an iPod, maybe even your cell phone if it's got an audio jack, you can plug it directly in without using the logic, and it's just straight audio in, which is really cool. I wish a lot more companies would do that. I'm also surprised that this stereo actually has a CD player. That's getting kind of rare these days. I do use CDs. I still have CDs. Hey, some of us still do that. So let's see here. So one thing I'm not a big fan of, I think it's neat that they put this virtual heads-up display kind of information screen up on the top of the dash, but it's kind of a waste of space. Let me show you. So you have your main infotainment system right here. You have the center console that actually shows you information as well. And then you also have this information screen right here that shows you some very good information like fuel economy. It shows you some stuff with eyesight. It shows you some other stuff. Let me see here if I can cycle through it. You can go program it, you can see eyesight, you can see car health, you can see some digital gauges and stuff. New York City temperatures for some reason. It'll show you the radio station. I usually keep it on this that shows me all my fuel economy, my real-time fuel economy. But I don't understand why they did that and it wastes this entire big area right here. There's nothing you can really do with this big area. They could have put a little cubby here, kind of like Fords and Chevys and Dodge have done. You know, American vehicles, they could have put a little cubby right here so you could put a cell phone there. Although it's in direct sunlight, so I don't know if you really want to do that. But they could have done something there. And it's just like this cubby. It's pointless. I don't have my cell phone on me, but it's not very big. I can barely even fit my hand in there. So a cell phone does not really fit in there very well. You have these two little cup holders, which are an awkward location because they're back underneath this. So when you're driving, it's not a good spot to have a cup holder. There's also this little cubby here that's not big enough for a cell phone. I actually have a little flashlight. I stick right there because it fits perfectly. And then you have this. So let me show you this little center armrest. So I'm not a big fan of this. For one reason, it's too short. It should extend out a little further because when you sit your arm there, the elbow just barely touches it. It's almost pointless. But then you open it, and you can see in here, there's almost no storage. You got this little tray that kind of sits here, and then down here, there's a hole, but you can barely stick a hand down there. But there is a hole down in there, and I can't tell. I have to get a flashlight, sorry. There is a 12-volt plug in there, and that's all there is. And then I got a bag of Kleenex. But it's almost pointless. It's not very well built. It is what it is. You know, I think it's like that with most vehicles. It doesn't matter what you buy, what brand, what size, even my F-150s. There's always been features I don't like. Overall, I love this car. It gets average about 36, 35 miles at the gallon. I just put these new tires and wheels on, so the mileage should drop just a little bit. We'll see. I'm gonna do a long drive here before too long and see what the real mileage is now. But overall, I'm impressed. I mean, it gets, even at its worst mileage, it's still getting double what my truck does, so I can't complain. The engine, it's not very potent. It's just a regular 2.5 liter non-turbo. It's like 182 horsepower, I believe. It has no cojones. It's a slug. But that's okay. You expect that in a little four-cylinder. I didn't get it for fast, for speed. If I did that, I would have bought like the STI or a muscle car. I more wanted it for fuel economy, ground clearance, and winter driving, and I got that. And usability, because like I said, I have the seat adjusted perfectly for me. If I come into the back seat, there is still a lot of room there. I can fit comfortably. In fact, I want to do it right now. Here I am in it. I'm 6'1". My knees they're not actually touching right here. I can fit my hand through. It's close, but they're not touching. I also have headroom. I mean, I'm wearing my hat and it's not touching. It's close. If I work really hard, I can get it to touch. Other than that, it's very comfortable. The seat's kind of flat, I will give it that. It's not super comfortable, but it works. It's way better than other vehicles I've been at where the back seats are almost pointless. So again, from the back seat, as you can see here, it's hard to see, but it does have a sunroof. It's actually quite a large sunroof, and it's really nice. So I hope you enjoyed this short video. It was nothing big. It was just a quick little tour of my new car. And like I said, I've got a couple little features coming. I want to put some kind of rally lights on it because one thing in the dead of winter around here, it gets really dark and there's a lot of animals on the road. So I want a little bit better lighting. So I'm looking up solutions for that. I could either get like a front bully bar, or I can get the under hood mounts that kind of pop up between the windshield and the hood to put lights. I haven't fully decided what I want to do yet, so stay tuned for that. And as I do more mods and more adventures in this vehicle, I will definitely document it. So that's really the gist of it for now. There's a couple other little things here and there that I'm not a big fan of, but I want to wait until I give it an honest few months before I start really hammering things I don't like. But like I said, it doesn't matter what vehicle you have. Nothing's perfect. The only way to make a perfect vehicle is to make it yourself, and then you're never going to be happy anyway. So I can't complain. I like the fuel economy. I like the comfort and the usability. And you know, it's pretty cool. I can't wait to take it off road and see how she does. I know it's not like powerful, but with these new wheels and tires, I should be able to actually go off road without worrying about getting a flat tire. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, so look forward to my adventures coming up, and we'll see you in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching, and click the subscribe button, click the like button, hit the notification bell, make a comment, tell me what you thought of this video. It's not much, it was kind of an impromptu kind of thing. We'll go from there. We'll see you next time. Thanks.